Hi, Dan here. I'm here to answer some of the questions that you guys have sent in. I guess we'll get started. So first question we've got from Michael Lees. What position did I play in my day? So I was a loose head prop, only a loose head prop. Probably too fat and slow to play any other position. Next question is from Brett McMaster 13. Funniest person on the squad, that's got to be Craig Gilroy. Every year, always. Not necessarily because he's naturally funny, he just does funny stuff that we all get to laugh at. Seth Mac 30 has a question here. When do I hope Dwayne Vermeulen is going to start? So Dwayne will arrive after the Barbarians game this weekend, and then we'll see how he's tracking physically in the week before we make a decision on when he's going to play. The next question is Callum Mac 99. What is the hardest thing about being a coach? That's a really good question. It's probably pulling together all of the different ideas that people have, suggestions that people have, and bringing them all into one decision, because ultimately somebody's got to make a decision, but we have so many people here with so many great ideas that we have to get some sort of alignment, and ultimately that's me that has to make that decision. Kevin Conway wants to know what my coffee order is. It's a straight black Americano, and a lot of them. Tommy Swar, brown sauce or red sauce for a fry? I think I know Tommy Swar. It's definitely red sauce. Probably both actually. I like brown sauce, but preference, if I had to choose, red sauce. Okay, Donal O'Reilly wants to know which of my favourite philosophies do I think could be applied best outside of the sporting arena? One of the biggest things that I enjoy in my life, and I enjoy in sport here, is the process of growth and learning, just trying to get better every day basically. Although probably the biggest thing that drives me is competitiveness. That doesn't really apply outside of the sporting arena. In actual fact, it's a massive hindrance at home sometimes, but definitely learning, growth, and trying to be better every day is something that definitely applies to day-to-day life. I hope that answers your question, Donal. Ian McCourty wants to know top book recommendation. I've actually got a few. I'm a big novel reader, as well as some other sort of non-fiction stuff, but Call of the Wild by Jack London is a brilliant book. I love that. Man's Search for Meaning is not a fiction book, and is pretty deep, but that's by Viktor Frankl. That's a brilliant book. Team of Teams by General Stanley McChrystal is really interesting, and I love the Game of Thrones books as well, if that's your cup of tea. Ellen BX Erd. Okay, sorry Ellen. How much do supporters help team morale on game day? Well, that's like anybody who's been to Kingspan Ravenhill on a Friday night for a European fixture with 18,000 people here, it is pretty safe to assume that the players and the support staff take a huge amount from that. It is just a brilliant place to be. You know, there are not many places I'd rather be than here on those nights, and as tense as it is, and as worrying as it is, and as much glory there is on the line, I wouldn't, you know, it's a brilliant place to be. It definitely helps. Itis Conair. These are usernames, by the way, so I assume they're not real names. What is the hardest part about introducing international players back into the squad and training again? They're actually laughing at me behind the camera here, so it is Con here. Yeah, Itis Con here. It's actually not that difficult. A lot of the guys who play international rugby are obviously seasoned professionals and have certainly been around the first team a while, and they're used to jumping from one squad to another. You obviously have to be really careful of them on a physical level and making sure that the training is individually prepared for them, but they're really professional. They've got a lot of learning to do, so they have to jump information wise from one group to another, but they're really good at that. They just get on with their job. So Jake Irwin 309, what do you look for in a rugby player? Lots of things. I think that there are many individual attributes. There isn't one thing that describes every rugby player. I think if there's one trait that I would always want in rugby players, and that's competitiveness. I think you have to have a competitive edge to play sport at a professional level, because you know, wanting to win and the drive that you get day in, day out is a real motivator. B197517, I'm assuming that isn't their real name. What sports do you watch other than rugby? I watch NFL, so I watch American football. I'm a massive NFL fan, but I watch most things. Aaron Conway wants to know what is my boujam order. That's really good. Okay, so it's a while since I've been to boujam, but it would be Mexican rice. I'll have peppers on it. I like the chili, and then sort of with everything that I order, I more or less have everything on it. So I have the sour cream, the avocado, the lettuce, jalapenos, because the main objective is that they can barely shut the lid of the bowl. Andy Wilson .79219, when talking with Bryn Cunningham about recruitment, do you have a wish list? Definitely. So Bryn and I would we'd have really good conversations around that, but it's a very big conversation, so it's not individually done on just pops into our heads. We'll sit down, succession planning. What are the spots in the squad that might need bolstering with bringing guys in? You know, where are the guys that we're hoping coming through in the next number of years? It's a very complex process, and a lot of time is put into that. This is from Josh Lightbody. What advice would you give to a young rugby player? That's really good. I think. I don't think people should ever be limited by what they want to achieve. I think that's a big thing. There's actually a Netflix documentary coming out this weekend, which highlights a mountaineer called Nims Persia, and he's going to climb the 14 8,000ers. There are only 14,000 mountains in the world over 8,000 metres. All of those, anything over 8,000 metres goes into the death zone. Nims Persia did all of them in 7 months, and his catchphrase is nothing is impossible, and I really like that attitude. And as a young player, you know, if you want to play professional rugby, if you want to play for your country, that's the way you should approach it. But there's consequences to that as well, because if you want to play for your country and you want to play professional rugby, it requires a commitment that goes with what you're wanting to do. So you've got to work out the gap between what you want, what you're currently doing, and how you want to get to it. But don't limit yourself. If that's what you want to do, you've got to go for it. Caleb O'Shea 5. Who or what is your biggest motivation? I think my biggest motivation is the desire to win with a group of people. Like I love competing with the guys here, and we got a great group of people here, and I think that's the biggest thing. The joy of having the amount of work you have to do in elite sport, and how difficult it is to achieve anything, because everybody's doing the same thing. Every other team has got good players and good staff, and it's really difficult to achieve what you want to achieve. But the motivation is the opportunity to be able to win with this group of people. I think that would be awesome. Gillyport 1985. What has been your highlight since you have arrived at Ulster? Oh, I don't know. I think there's been a lot of them. I can't say I'd want to put one thing out there, because my highlight is still to come, and that's winning a trophy. But I think there are a number of games that I really enjoyed winning. Obviously the European games that we won here under lights at Ravenhill Kingspan, but also there was a big win in Connacht last year at Christmas. You know, that's a really tough fixture to go to, and you know, we took down a team that didn't have a lot of our normal starters, and we were superb that day against a strong Connacht team. So that was a really good place to be. Aaron Mac N, how do you and the team review the season and start planning for the next? Well, planning for the next season starts probably around February, where I start thinking about the kinds of things that we want to be evolving. That's on a big picture scale. The review of the current season starts with myself and the analysts and conversations between the coaches as we're nearing the end of the current season, but we wouldn't involve the players in that because obviously they've got minds on the job at the time, and then over off season we start collecting that information all together, pulling it together so that just prior to the beginning of pre-season we're able to tidy up everything so that we're ready when we set off on pre-season. Niall Lawther, who do you support when England play Ireland in the Six Nations? That's not even a question. Ireland, of course. Niall, I grew up in a house in England, yes, but the highlight of my growing up was Five Nations weekend on a Saturday, sitting down with my dad, who was a massive Irish Ireland supporter, my brother, who's also an Ireland supporter, and watching watching Ireland. Always been Ireland. Even though I've got an accent that sounds like this. So we've got Ellie. What made you want to become a coach? My coach at Richmond, when I was playing back in the late 90s, was a guy called John Kingston, who then came and coached Galwegians. And before he went on to Harlequins, and I went from Stade Francais to Connacht and played with Galwegians, and it was John that suggested that I try coaching. So I just really sort of threw my hat into the ring and went and worked with a guy called John Folan with the Galwegians under-20s, and just loved it. Just absolutely loved it. You know, that's really what got me into it. Mac at 264, excited about Dwayne arriving. Definitely, like it's always great to have a new player joining the squad. You know, Dwayne's obviously a serious presence in world rugby, and you know, it's fantastic that he's decided he wants to come and join us. So yeah, no, really looking forward to working with him. Hopefully I'll be able to learn loads from him. Freya Callahan, Dan, are you the man? You made that up, didn't you? Am I the man? No. Okay, one is from a guy called James Hume. Juma, I think Juma 3. Don't know. You're going out for a beer. You can invite 3 people from the squad. Who are you picking? Definitely not James Hume.